Hey there, YouTube! Welcome back to Artichoke Dip. My name is Rob, solo tabletop gamer, and this is my number 2 video of 2019 of Tabletop Talk. So before I get into it, if you liked the video, please click the like button, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, click the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So, in this tabletop talk, I'm going to talk about this magazine right here, and I'm going to explain how I got around to get on the subject of it. This is the 1987 January issue of Dragon magazine. Now, in the comment section, I have included a link to a free copy of a PDF file of this, so you can either view or download it to your computer, print it off, and use the resources out of here at your leisure. So some of you out there may have some of these lying around with your gaming stuff. Maybe some of you don't. So for those of you that don't know what Dragon magazine is, TSR, and even when it became Wizards of the Coast, they published it for a while, and I can't remember exactly what year, but it was in, I want to say, towards either like 2007, maybe-ish. They stopped publishing it because they said it just basically wasn't what I was told, anyways, from the hobby store, game store. It wasn't really a hobby store, it was a game store. It was all about gaming, that I went to, called Hero Quest, which is really cool because Nate, who owned it, his favorite game was Hero Quest, which is why he named it Hero Quest. I loved it. Anyways, he said what he was told from his suppliers was that Wizards of the Coast said that they just were not really generating much money off of it anymore, and it was costing them more to actually print and ship these things and try to distribute them than they were getting back. So they said, done. Now, I don't know, how true that is or not. It's secondhand news, and as to whether they started it up again or not. Maybe they have, maybe they have not. Don't know. But really, it doesn't have much bearing on this particular video. And the cool thing, let's talk about some of the cool things about these older magazines that we just don't have anymore. Now, this is before, modern computer age, and some of the, I'm not gonna say, some of the, as far as art and graphics, have gotten better, and some kind of lack. They're just kind of too, I don't know, computer generated ish. And the older game systems were the art in it, and it was really cool to sit back and admire it, because some of these pieces of art that they would have, you would just look at them, and it would, at that point, oh man, it would just get your imagination going, and you wish at that time that you could jump right into that picture and be in the middle of the action. And just like this one right here, and I'm not certain who the artist was, but by looking at it, I'm going to say it was probably Elmore that did this, and I may be completely wrong. And I'm going to hold the picture up here for you guys to take a look at for a moment, and maybe perhaps they put some credits here on the cover to say who, at that point, the artist was. Contributing artists: Diesel, Brian Maynard, Joseph Pillsbury, Mark Saunders, Richard Tomasik, Marvel Bullpen, and Lawrence Raymonda. Huh. Oh, okay, this one was done particularly, it says right here, cover, it was difficult, but they got Jim Holloway to volunteer and do a painting. And that was the cool thing about the art in the day, is a lot of them were oil paintings. And I mean, you can really appreciate that these people put forth that amount of time to come up with a really, really cool cover. And this is, for a magazine. Granted, I'm sure there was a lot of marketing thought that went into that to be able to entice people to buy something like this, but you could really, truly appreciate it. So, aside of the art, Dragon Magazine is kind of like a. How do I put it? Think of it like a Baskin Robbins, you know what I mean? A variety of flavors, but particularly with role playing games and the games that were popular at the time would all be represented in here, giving you at that point some information that the DM could use for the gaming as well as for the player, which made it more than just a magazine about selling games and stuff. And I mean, of course, they had, trust me, their share of, at that point, advertisements in there to get you to buy. But nevertheless, hey, they also gave you a lot of cool information as well. So, as I was going through and making my videos this week, I was going through some of my older stuff that I've had packed away, and I ran across a box, and I had, kind of almost forgot about that I even had these. And so I was like going through a time capsule. I pulled them out, and I'm going through them and looking at them. And of course, I found this one, and it was from January of 1987, and I'm like, that's too cool. So at that point, it really intrigued me, and I started flipping through the pages and looking at it. And, that feel of nostalgia and, kind of like, wow, that's cool, that's cool. And some of the stuff you look at it, it's just really funny. Send a self-addressed envelope with, $2 for postage and handling. I'm pretty sure you're not going to get a response out of that anymore. But the one thing I wanted to focus on with the magazine is the last video I did, I talked about wilderness, and some of you, I know it was a long video. It was like, I think, almost an hour and a half long, and I apologize if a lot of you guys got bored to death with it. I covered all the information as I thought that was pertinent for running your wilderness encounters and adventures out in the wilderness, and how to make your tables and do stuff like that. So I hope some of you enjoyed it. If I lost a lot of you maybe after the first half hour, I can completely understand. But I'm trying to be able to explain one thing to you and then being able to actually write it out and have you be able to see how I lay it out and do everything, I think takes it to a different level. Enough said about that. So let me get to, at that point, the section in here, and I think it's page 55. Let me take a look. No. 62. So on page 62, and I've never even heard of this game, never played it, don't know anything. Maybe some of you out there do, and it's called Top Secret. And if you do, hey, here's some tables that you can use. Maybe you get to take the old game system out and, have a go at it. And what it outlines in here and talks about is the effects of adverse weather conditions on your character in some of the areas. And the overall, well, let me just read this little section to you, and you're going to get the overall feel of the game. So it says, the Arctic is of special interest to superpower strategy. Its geographic location makes it ideal for the tracking of ICBMs and any air or space vehicle launched by the USA or USSR. The North and South Poles are also among the few truly remote areas left. Maverick individuals bent on escaping society may take up residence on an ice cap. Not me. Oh no. You won't catch me on an ice cap, I can guarantee you that much. But anyways, what it goes through and talks about, and it breaks down how the weather would affect your character, how they would suggest some suggestions to convert dice tables and stuff like that for your character. Now, even though this is written for top secret, a lot of this could be used with your solo tabletop gaming and applied. The first one it talks about is the Arctic terrain table, and it breaks it down into a nice percentile range from 1 all the way up to 100. Terrains ranging from smooth all the way up to rough terrains with large and or hidden crevices that, at that point could complicate things for your character or characters. It also goes into weather damage modifier tables. So some of the things it points out here, like moving less than 20 miles per hour in an open, unheated vehicle. Well, at that point, +1 to the modifier. Wearing an inexpensive parka up to $100 would give you a -1 modifier on your character for survival. Whereas if you were standing or lying inactive in an Arctic situation, you'd have a +3 modifier at that point to some pretty bad stuff happening to your character. Even covers some transportation tables, and it's more modern stuff, so for those of you that like modern war gaming or anything like that, that would work out well for you. I bet you'd probably find that pretty interesting. It even breaks it down with temperature and the scale into weather conditions in the damage table. I'd recommend to do that as far as damage to your character. Some of the other things it does offer you here, which is pretty cool, is jungle animals and Arctic animals and cool temperate forest animals. It even goes into forest terrain tables. Kind of like how I showed you with my tables, how I broke it up with thin forest and then heavy, thick forest, all the way down to lakes and swamps. Goes into mountains, goes into swamp terrain tables, grassland animals. Now, for those of you that like high sea adventures, well, they even offer wind speed on ocean surfaces. They go into undersea animal tables. They go into if you are in some, pretty, how do we put this, severe areas. And just like how I brought up, like, areas that are affected by drought or bitter cold, and the chance of discovering water per day. And it breaks it down into gallons and the chance that it could possibly be contaminated in the terrain. And of course, as it breaks it down, it has a section that you can read on it as far as with the weather, food, water, getting lost, and one of my favorites, river features. And this is really cool. Right here goes into normal water flow and rapids and short falls and shallows and waterfalls, all kinds of stuff that it adds into that. To just put more depth into your game. If you're looking for more detail, more depth, these will really help you out with that. Now, aside from that, it covers a lot of other games and gives you some other little tidbits that you can use if maybe you have some of these games. And hey, if you do, cool for you. Now, towards the front of the magazine, and I'll get to that here in a minute. And I think it might. Did I already? No, I did not. Huh. It goes into what they would recommend for base numbers for classes and monsters. It breaks it down by the cleric, the attack fighter, the magic user, the thief, and the monster. This is really cool to see some of this stuff. I mean, basic character classes. Gives you some information on provisions, torture devices. Let's see what the torture devices are about. That sounds. So you could buy a branding iron for 2 gold pieces, or if you had 15 to 20 gold pieces, I guess it depends on where you buy it from. You get yourself a cage. A chair with straps only set you back 3 gold pieces. Iron boots, 5 gold pieces. And then of course, ooh. So 50 to 70 gold pieces. I guess it all depends on the castle estate sale that you visit there. You could buy yourself an Iron Maiden. And then stocks, 3 to 5 gold pieces. Or if you're on the cheap, you could spend 1 gold piece and you could get a thumb screw. Or 25 gold pieces will get you a U-rack. And 7 gold pieces will get you a vice. That's pretty. Oh, man. And it goes into miscellaneous items as well. Some stuff that you could, at that point, add in for your characters to purchase into some of your merchants. That's pretty cool. Vile crystal, vile metal, leather bracers, heck, even a hairbrush. So I guess if you want your character to look decent while he's, slaying a local tribe of kobolds there. Hey. So it even goes into a little bit of adventure trivia. What is the airspeed of an unladen carpet of flying? So this just helps. Okay, I see how this works out. So this is set up is to help you become more familiar with the Dungeon Master's Guide and the main core rulebooks by asking you questions like, what is the fastest normal ship sailed or oared listed in the Dungeon Master's Guide? Question mark. The breath weapon of which of the following creatures causes the most hit points of damage? So, A, a small adult dragon turtle. B, average adult white dragon. C, a chimera. Or, C, chimera of maximum hit points. D, a small old lung wang. Okay. Or E, large adult mist dragon. Well, if I had to take a stab at this, I'm going to go with the chimera of maximum hit points. Only because it's got maximum hit points, so I'm sure it's going to be able to use that breath weapon quite a few times with a lot of damage before you actually kill it. And other questions here that are quite interesting and just kind of, funny to look through. Here's one. Number 31. Can a great druid cast an anti-animal shell spell that will keep out mountain dwarves? You know how the mountain dwarves are, man. If you do not keep your thumb on them, just saying. You don't watch it, you'll find out. Okay. Okay. All right. So, question 42: which knight found the Holy Grail? King Arthur, Sir Galahad, Sir Gawain, or Sir Lancelot du Lake. I would have to say it was Gawain, Sir Gawain. So, a touch of genius. Now, this part of it goes into putting intelligence to work for your AD&D gaming, if you're interested in that. And I didn't really look over that section a whole lot. I kind of skipped over that, so it's the reason why I'm not really covering it is I really don't want to do it on camera and sit here be reading and like, give me a minute. Intelligence and saving throw tables. Well, that's pretty cool. So, and it breaks it down by the spell. So, if you have a character intelligence level of 3, at that point, well, let's see here. You would have a -4 penalty to advanced illusion. Yeah, I imagine you would have a penalty to a lot of things. Goes into the ecology of the Ankh. The Ankh. That horrible beastie thing. You know, I wrote up a small adventure and used those things. They were pretty nasty. They really were. And they really tear up an area fast. Hounds of Space and Darkness. 3 unusual dogs for the AD&D game. Gift dogs. Cowlgrim. Sarkles. And it gives you, at that point, all the stats you need to include those into your game if you choose to. Fun without fighting. Unique for fantasy role-playing games. Romance. Okay. Business. Right. So, organizations. Judging non-combative games. I really don't like that section. Business? So, let's play some D&D, but instead of D&D, we're going to play papers and paychecks instead. Alrighty. Hey, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. The Forgotten Characters, a look at henchmen, hirelings, and followers. That's pretty cool, and it's got, at this point, to where you can read, and they'll give you some ideas, and henchmen and hirelings. Personalities and morale, followers, and even break it down into some tables for you. That's pretty cool. Huh. So here's an interesting one. If you check out page 45, in the lower right hand corner, it has an advertisement for this game. And it's called Imperial Earth. And here's their marketing pitch, Georgia. In the year 2198, excommunication is a harsh sentence. Can you stand up to the Pope's attack fleets? Imperial Earth, a complete science fiction role-playing system. So, wow. So the Pope comes back with a vengeance. By Magic Masked, and goes into magic. And this is written by Ed Greenwood. I like a lot of Ed Greenwood's stuff. I have to admit, there's a lot of stuff that he's done, and I really am a fan of his. So he goes in and talks about some different masks that you can incorporate into your games, and some of the different, at that point, it's been a long day today, so my brain's not functioning at full capacity, so different elements. They're done. Different elements they can bring to your game. A horn mask, so called because it sports two horns curving up from its upper edges. The mask allows the wearer augmented vision. 9 feet. Well, it says 9 inches. Okay, if you remember how I explained that. So, the conversion, 5 feet for every inch. So, and then infravision for 7 inches, or 40 feet. Goes into the veiled mask. Named for both its appearance and function, this mask completely covers all of the wearer's face in an impassive expanse. It's got a winged mask. The edges of the mask are cut so as to resemble rows of feathers. The wearer can fly at will. That's actually pretty cool. Without tiring. As often as desired, and for as long as desired, but may not carry any other living creature while doing so. Well, it did say living creature. So if you have a good resurrection spell, you could just kill your other characters off, put the mask on, carry them to your next destination point, cutting down on time and travel and expenses, and when you get them there, resurrect them. Might work. Skull mask. What is this? The mask always gives the wearer's face a skull-like appearance with dark sockets about the eyes and nose and barred teeth. While worn, it confers immunity to fear of any sort and to the life level draining, strength draining, or aging attacks of all undead or other creatures. That is cool. I like that. Mask of Magic. This mask always appears perfectly circular. The wearer can see magical dwellers and auras, including those of surfaces or areas bearing symbols and glyphs. That's pretty cool. Fanged Mask. The bottom of this mask is cut in the shape of downward pointing fangs like those of some great cat. When worn, the wearer can bite in combat for 1 to 4 HP damage. If the wearer's bite already does impeccable damage, example, the wearer is a creature like a Norker, 1d4 HP of damage is added to existing bite damage. The bite can even affect targets that are astral, ethereal, or from the lower planes, such as those that can normally be hit only by magical weapons. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Mirror Mask. That'll be interesting. What is the Mirror Mask? This mask appears as a circle with dark lines radiating outwards from the center focus around the wearer's nose. Anyone gazing at the wearer does not see the mask. Instead, seeing the viewer's own head perfectly depicted, creatures not looking directly at the mask see the mask instead. The mask reflects all gaze attacks back upon the gazer, and the wearer can meet the gaze of any being without being affected by awe, fear, horror, hypnotic gaze effects, charms, and suggestions, etc. That's pretty cool. And the Mask of Silence. This mask covers the area around the eyes of the wearer and has a trailing veil that flows down to the corner. The wearer's mouth moving always to cover the lips. The mask must be removed to eat or drink. I thought you had to do that with most masks. Anyways, at will, the wearer can magically silence one creature within 5 feet. Huh. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's 5 inches again, so that would be 30 feet. Range per round. The victim gets a save versus breath weapon to avoid these effects. That puts a whole new spin on having a Mask of Silence when you say, shut up. Hey, really, shut up. Mask of Winds. Appearing as a vertical bellow-shaped point downwards, this mask allows the wearer to influence the movement of gases and vapors within at that point, 35 foot radius sphere at will. Thus, the wearer negate or turn aside gale force winds, including magical gusts of wind, turn back convection currents, smoke, gaseous form creatures, poison gas, and even scent carrying breezes. The wearer can rob fires of fresh oxygen by stealing air. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Huh. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here that you guys can use, and a bazaar of the bizarre, and it gives you some at this point. This looks like magical treasure, ring of shape changing, ring of tongues, ring of the drow. That's pretty cool. Ring of fire starting, ring of quick action, ring of animal magnetism. Magical treasure to add into your games. More power to you. And what does this add in here? Well, these are skills you can at that point attach to your character. Navigation, sleight of hand, survival, throwing master, gaseous form, hypertensive touch, precipitation, temperature change. Sage of Ice, City Book 3. Wow, I never even knew they had this. So evidently at one time in 1986, they had what was called Games on Call. 1-800-874-7907. And they had games on call buyer's guide. So at that point, you could call that number and talk to somebody, and they could tell you whether a game was good or not. Wow, imagine that. Tanks for the memories. So some of those of you who enjoyed Car Wars, and while I was thumbing through this, I was laughing. And if you check out page 56, going into 57, it has this article, but also there's this great artwork on there as well, with this depiction of, well, this rabble of idiots is the best way I can explain it to you. But just to look at it is dumb, and the longer you look at it, the more you see, and it is actually pretty funny. So that's worth checking out. And if you like Car Wars, never played it, from what I'm seeing here, it looks pretty interesting. It gives you some, at that point, vehicles you can use in your game. I think it's time for another sip of coffee here. The Marvel File. Huh, this must have been a Marvel RPG game. And they have a section in here for it, for stuff for your characters. Vertigo, real name, unrevealed. Sabretooth, Malice. Blockbuster. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, Gamma World. Never did play that game. I always wanted to check that out. I heard it was really good. But just one of those I kind of missed out on. And of course, as you get towards the back of the section, there are stories there that you can read about some of the contributors of, at that time, TSR and the gaming industry at that time. And towards the back, it's got a trivia guide. But overall, it's got a lot of useful stuff in here that you can use for your games, particularly your solo games. And I hope you guys enjoy it. You know, I was oh, and I cannot forget, in the very, very back, starting on page 97, you have Snarf Quest by Elmore. And you get some comics back here you can read. Some of them are pretty funny. And, well, you have to be an RPGer to really understand it and get some kicks out of it. But, yeah, you're going to check those out. And so, and that's about it. That's what I wanted to cover and talk about was, and of course on the very back of it, Rollmaster Companion. The best role-playing game system gets even better. Let me see, what is this? Spell Law, Arms Law, Claw Law. I have all these. So, that is Dragon Magazine, going back through basically a like a time capsule from 2019 to January of 1987, what was going on in the game industry at that time. And oddly enough, there's still a lot of useful stuff in here that can be used 2019 with our RPG games. And some of the stuff here you look at and wow, you can, well, some of it you get a laugh, and other stuff, this is really, really cool. I can't get over to call the 1-800 number for the Game Buyer Guide. Huh. Before the, who knew it? Before the days of YouTube, there was an Artichoke Dip 1-800 line. Oh, let me see. Calling convenience, fast 24-hour shipping, no shipping charge in the U.S. Large selection, credit cards welcome. CODs, charge on deliveries welcome. Wow. Express service available. And of course, the credit cards that they accepted back then, MasterCard and Visa. 1987. Wow. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for this tabletop episode number 2 of January 2019. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And it's kind of fun going through this and thumbing through it, talking about some of the stuff. And it was cool to see it was, you know, popular back then. You know, top secret, and you know, some of the ideas. Well, how to create an RPG without a combat style? You could always create romance, or perhaps business, or organization. Organization. So, I can already see it. Okay, so this is what your characters are going to do. They're going to go into this massive dungeon. Just massive. 30 levels. And there's a secret door that lead on beyond that. But it's secret. Now, what they need to do is go in there. Straighten the whole place. Clean it top to bottom. Just absolutely perfect. At that point, you can eat off the floors. Organization. Absolutely. I know. I would have to read that a little bit more, but when I seen that, organization. Okay, organization. Right. So anyways, folks, I think I'm going to end my video here on that note. Organization. Don't forget to clean your dungeon. And while you're at it, don't forget to fall in love with a hairy gnoll beast in that dungeon either. A little romance into your game. And while you're at it, why not renew that lease agreement with the monsters in that dungeon? At that point, keeping up on the business end of things, right? Absolutely. So, until next time, guys, it's Artichoke Dip. And if you enjoyed my video, please click the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click the bell icon, and you'll get some notifications when I upload some new videos. So I think I'm going to end it here. It's Friday night, and it's getting pretty close to my bedtime when I crash out. It's been a long day, and I'm starting to get pretty slap happy. And at this point, the coffee's not really doing much for me anymore. So, all right, folks, I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you next time.